Nourishing your body after giving birth can be a challenge. Asking for what you need to recover and heal is a skill and a learning process. Today, I'm connecting with Stephanie, who's a postpartum doula from Au Petit Jour, and she shares some tips and ways that you can make nourishing meals a priority for your family, and even shares a few of her favorite recipes to get you started. I always say when you're eating well, then you're going to sleep well. And so you're going to want to check out the blog to get all the delicious details as you're thinking about how you're nourishing your body in that fourth trimester. In our most sleep deprived moments, our children will teach us exactly what we need in order to learn and grow into who we were created to be. These are the loving lessons we will learn whether we were wanting to or not. I'm Irene Googe, your sleep coach, and I'm on mission to educate parents on how to help their young children sleep. Welcome to the journey. Well, hello and welcome to the Loving Lessons Learned podcast. I'm so excited to introduce you to Stephanie Gleason, who is here with me today from Au Petit Jour. I'm hoping I said that correctly, Stephanie.
That's great.
And she is originally from Paris, France, and spent her college years in London. And Stephanie has two children that are 17 and 15, the same age as my boys. And she moved to Raleigh in 2005 to be with her husband. And so she actually is a postpartum doula, and we connected and had a chance to talk about this. And she started her journey in 2021. And after reflecting on her own postpartum experience, she decided she was going to do training with Doula International. And she started that in November 2021 and then became certified in 2023. And I'm super excited for Stephanie to share some of her unique gifts and talents that she shares with her postpartum family. So welcome, Stephanie. So glad you're here.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
And so, Stephanie, I want you to tell me a little bit about why you decided to become a postpartum doula. Tell me a little bit about your journey, how that got.
Yeah. So, like you said in the intro, as a parent, I started reflecting. I mean, I arrived in the U.S. In 2005, and I had my first baby in 2007, and I was a birth partner for my friend in England, and I've been working with kids most of my adult life. And in 2020, COVID hit, and it really made me think about what was important for me, kind of reflecting on my own parental journey. And my postpartum journey, especially with my first child, was pretty difficult. I think I underestimated what it took to have a child. I was really prepared for the birth, was not prepared for the postpartum period, because none of the perinatal professional that were following me during my pregnancy, nobody ever mentioned postpartum. So I assumed the hard work was the birth. So I was, I think, prepared physically, but not prepared mentally at all. I naively didn't know about the physical aspect of postpartum. I didn't think about hormonal changes. I didn't really think about not sleeping. And I certainly didn't think about the collusion of these two things, and being a new parent. I don't know. I read magazines and books and I thought I was ready. It was not. So it was an extremely isolating and difficult period for me. So it got me thinking, and I thought, how can I help people in this situation? Because for me, it really takes it just takes one person around you when you've had the baby to say, you know what, you're doing, making me tear up, because it just takes one person to tell you, you know what, you're doing a great job. You're doing fine. It's okay. The baby's okay. You guys are doing a fantastic job as parents. And that's all you need. That's not all you need, but that's one of the things.
Part of it. Yes, absolutely.
It's part of it. Because when you hear that, you just bring into action. You think, oh, I'm okay. I can do this. But when you don't hear it and you're dwelling in it, and you're dealing with physical and mental, uh, you know, postpartum. I don't know, the thing
It's the
that,
angst of it. Yeah.
yeah, when you're in the middle of it, you can't think straight, you can't see straight. Sometimes you just don't know what. There's so many things at once. You just need one person to say, maybe we can start with this. Why don't we start with that? Maybe
Yeah.
you just need one person to tell you, hey, did you eat breakfast? Let me make you
Yes.
that kind of things. So, and as much as family wants to help and we're really willing, their family, there's a lot of emotion involved, and you don't feel like you can. I don't know. There's other layer of things when it's your family, but when you have, and I know I'm trying to sell myself here, but when you have a doula that you feel, you know what, she has experience, she knows what she's doing. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you decide what you need to do, and where to start, or even just tell you, hey, you know what? You've had a rough night. Let's change your bed sheets and let's have breakfast, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think, Stephanie, a lot of the things that you are sharing are the things that oftentimes there's nothing we can do to prepare for this moment. Like I've really,
right.
like I think I've watched on Instagram, they're like, step on Legos and do all these things and like don't
Mhm.
sleep, and then now you'll be prepared for a parent. Like there's just no way like you could ever know
No.
what to expect. And I love your heart and your story of like why you became a postpartum doula too, because I think the same is true for me. It's like if I could have had somebody who could have said, you're doing a lot of hard things. This is really tough, but you are doing it right. But like, of course, I would get stuck in my head and beating myself up,
Right.
saying
Right.
like, oh my gosh, and second guessing myself. And
Mm.
having someone who would be trained to just come alongside and be with me would have been a game changer.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
And so I think too, like in this trusted professionals referral directory, when I think about all the providers that I'm connecting with and you've connected with, you have resources that you share with your families, it's like trying to find the right match for people and
Right.
to see like what can they do to kind of help the learning process be a little shorter.
Yeah, because as a doula, as a postpartum doula, when you go into a family, I mean, it takes a couple of sessions, but you're establishing a pretty intimate relationship with the parents, not
Yeah.
just the mother here. I'm talking about parents in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so once you get this intimate relationship going and this connection, you're starting to see, what, this person would be a better match, this lactation consultant probably would be better for this family.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it took me a long time. Part of the process with Donna for the certification is a massive resource list, and it's not just googling providers and slapping them on a spreadsheet. It's really, they are advising you to connect with these people. If you are going to refer somebody, you do need to connect with these people. And you need a wide range of things, because in a postpartum period, it's not just lactation problems that could occur. It's a million things, and I'm not going to make the list right now, but it is a million things that could occur. And my head is constantly working when I'm with a family. I'm
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how can I help, or what can I do here? So yeah.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, tell me a little bit about the name of your business. I don't know if I said it correctly.
You did, and I'm not expecting in the US people to do it perfectly. So
Thank you for
I'm
your grace.
I'm okay with that. You did say it right. Au Petit Jour means dawn in French. And while I named it this way for a couple of reasons. One, I am French, and I wanted something that reflected that. It is part of my identity. Along with the French accent when I speak English, that's part
I
of it.
love it.
But dawn for me is like, I don't know. When I think about postpartum, dawn means a lot of things. I used to obviously wake up or not sleep in the middle of the night. So I used to wake up super early, and I somehow remember those very early hours of dawn with a new baby. It's like it's cozy in one way. It's secluded and cozy with this new baby you don't really know how to deal with. It's and I say it on my website, but it's the the beginning of a new day, the beginning of a new journey with a baby. And that's why I give it that name, because it is full of promises, really, and not knowing what's coming, and that's also okay. So that's why I named it Au Petit Jour.
Oh, I love that. That's such a beautiful like analogy. I could see like the dawn of the day and
Mm,
everything saying. So, and I think too, right? It's like I always think of like a new day as a new beginning. And
mm.
sometimes in the parenting journey, it can feel like I just need this day to already end. But knowing like good things can happen in the morning and our
Yeah,
babies are here in the morning.
yeah, good things can happen. And if you've had a terrible day and you made parenting mistakes, and it still happens with teenagers, following day is a new day, and you can start afresh and do.
Yeah. So, Stephanie, one of the things that I think is really fascinating about your work as a postpartum doula, because again, there's a lot of doulas, but most parents don't realize that doulas may have a specialty. Can you share a little bit about your specialty and what you do? And everyone,
Yeah.
you're going to tune in.
So I am passionate about food, and I know it's a cliche. I'm French. By passionate, it means several things. I love eating,
Me
period.
too. You are a woman after my own heart.
Yeah, I love eating. I love good food. I grew up with great cooks around me from my grandparents. I had a grandmother in the south of France in a small village in the Pyrenees. And the meat we ate, she killed in the morning. And all the vegetables and fruit were picked. And there was no supermarket. So we had trucks coming in the village, and she'd pick up the essentials. So I vividly remember this taste. I mean, the taste is the taste of your childhood, right?
Yeah.
And in postpartum, this is my philosophy. And I had my training with Donna, like I said, and I mentioned the fact that I love cooking and I love food, and I raised my hand and said to the trainer, I said, you know, I love cooking, I love making good food, and she said, oh, no, 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 no. If they want a box mac and cheese, you need to make them a box mac and cheese. And at the time, I remember thinking, I don't know about that. But now that I've been working for 3 years, this makes total sense. I love eating. I would love to make you a from scratch mac and cheese. But the postpartum period, it's hard enough as it is that if you're craving something, I will make my best to do whatever you need that, mentally is going to make you feel better about whatever's coming today. Um, I also believe in nourishment. So I really do believe for recovery, you do need good nourishment. So I don't believe in a box mac and cheese. I would make you a box mac and cheese, but I do believe that um, bone broth. I do believe that if you're a vegan, I've made a lot of vegan dishes that are from scratch. And obviously, if I'm there for a shift of 5 hours, I can't make you bone broth, but I can definitely adapt the recipe, and we can buy a really good bone broth and make like a lentil soup from scratch with that, which would nourish your body. You need nourishment. I remember that postpartum period. I was absolutely, there's no word describing that, famished. I mean, I just was constantly hungry. And I wanted something that nourished my soul. So I wanted food that was comforting to me, and that is different from everybody. So we can definitely, with a family, I will discuss what what would you like, and how can we make that healthy for you and your baby. You need, for example, a lot of fiber, with the birth of a baby. So we can adapt whatever recipe that you're craving, and we can make it as healthy as possible using good fats like olive oil and avocado oil and ghee, all this stuff that nourishing your body, vitamins and minerals, fruit and vegetables. We So I'm passionate about it. There is a really good book out there, and it's called, I don't know if you can see it. It's called The First 40 Days.
Oh, okay.
It's called The Essential Art of Nourishing the New Mother. And this
Good.
woman is, her parents are Chinese, and she talks about her mother-in-law arriving with, chicken feet in a plastic bag to make her this bone broth. And obviously, we're not going to do that, but we certainly, her philosophy is amazing. She says she remembers vividly these things where her mother or her mother-in-law, I can't remember the book, would just come in and cook for her and take over the kitchen, and she would remember that the smells coming from the kitchen. I had one client that said to me, "Oh my God, waking up from this nap, smelling the food you made was," she said, "that is worth so much."
Yeah.
um, because it's nourishing your body, but it's also like mentally makes you feel better. I mean, when you've had food, it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Um,
So, Stephanie, I'm just wanting, so if someone's tuning in and learning about your postpartum doula services and maybe understanding maybe how other postpartum doulas work, what else do you do to help a family? So you're cooking delicious food sometimes, and what else
yeah.
might that look like for them?
So that's very fluid, obviously. When you come in for the first time in a family, you're going to assess a lot of things. And very often when you come in, you're feeling the atmosphere and you're feeling what's needed the most, right? So it could be a great meal, but it could be that that day, which I have done before, I've never met that mom, came up in her bedroom and the first thing she did was handing me that baby.
Mhm.
So if that's what the parents need, that's what I will do. I will take the baby. I will take care of the baby. If you're breastfeeding, I will bring the baby for breastfeeding when I think the baby is hungry. Um, there isn't a lot of I don't do. I'm not, obviously I'm not going to be washing your windows. I'm not a cleaner. But if I come in and there's a gazillion bottles in the kitchen, I will clear that kitchen, set up the bottles in the fridge. There's a million things to do. If the baby laundry is, needed and you haven't had time to do it, I'm quite happy to do that. I can help you with the breastfeeding. I'm not a lactation consultant, but I can help you position the baby. If I think there is a problem, absolutely will tell you you need to see a lactation consultant. I'm not a doctor. I can't do, I can't diagnose anything. But if something is amiss, I can certainly say, you know what, I think you might need to see your pediatrician for this. Sleeping habits, I get newborns, so I have a philosophy about that, and I don't know, I think that's your specialty. um but my philosophy with newborn is, I think it's to tell parents to, how I'm going to say that tactfully, lower their expectations with newborn. And there isn't a book out there that I believe is, um there is no method to get that newborn to sleep. That's my philosophy. So good, healthy sleeping habit is my philosophy. Now, I am not here to tell you what to do, but I can certainly tell you, oh, maybe if we could change this. I don't know. I'm going to give you a bad example, but if I see things in the crib, I might tell you, the recommendation is not to have anything in the crib. I would tell, that kind of thing. So I can help you out making a healthy decision about sleeping. But there's a lot of things you do as a doula, but you really do what's needed, and it can change from one session to the other.
Yeah.
One day you might need me to take the baby. The following day you just want to snuggle up with baby. So we'll talk about the difficulties you had the night before, or we'll always, talk. We communicate and we assess what's needed for the day.
Yeah. I think that is the superpower of a postpartum doula, that we are flexible and we do what is needed.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know that I've ever had a day that is the same.
Same.
Uh, I think, Stephanie, you and I connected too. Like, you talked so much about the nourishment and the food. And I think sometimes parents don't have that
Mhm.
opportunity where they're getting the food that maybe they would really desire. And some families have special needs around food. And like, friends and family are not always going to cook some of that if it's not on the meal train and things like that. So I think sometimes knowing you have an extra set of hands to help you,
Mhm.
whatever, is really key. And even around the sleep, it is about a healthy sleep foundation and, adjusting our expectations as
Mhm.
babies
Mhm.
that are coming into this world. And as a sleep coach, like one of the things I say, there are like no bad habits you can create with babies, and parents get so worked up about, like their
Yeah.
sleep, but it's like understanding that sleeping and feeding looks so different, especially during these first 6 months. So those tuning in and listening, like I hope that helps you recognize no stress, like you're doing a good job in whatever you're doing and it's working, like that's okay. You know,
Yeah.
asking for help if and when needed
Yeah.
is
That's a big thing that I see in
key.
moms. I hear a lot from parents. Well, I know other people do it as if that's the answer. Well, whatever you see on social media is not a reality. Trust
No.
me, as I've had enough families now. I've been a parent for 17 years. Nobody's juggling everything perfectly. Absolutely nobody. And I know that to be true, 100%. Nobody. There's always something that's got to give, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
Yeah, that's great wisdom to share, because a lot of times I think we can get scrolling and comparing and all the things. And
Let's
I
stop.
always I always have to remember, like, that is someone's like I look at pictures. Oftentimes I'm like, look at this beautiful baby sleeping well, and like, look at this beautiful family portrait. But I think about, well, what happened before
Yes.
that
Yeah.
family portrait? Like, how hard was it to get the coordinated outfits and all?
Right.
Like, was it worth it? I mean, yes, sometimes they're beautiful, but that was not the reality of what was really taking place.
No, and I'm listening, so it's different period in my parenting life, but I'm listening to a book about teenagers, and yesterday the author was talking about her dining table does not look like a magazine because she has boys and they're always doing mechanics, or her dining table is always covered in mechanical tools and stuff. She said, does my dining table look like a magazine? Absolutely not. Is it more important for me to have my boys, And she said, yes. So she said, you need to decide what's important to you.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
that's so good. I think we need teen doulas in our
oh my
life.
God.
Like,
Oh my,
help us through
yeah.
this season.
Yes. Create a group, please.
So Stephanie, if someone is interested in reaching out, working with you, can you tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about how you work with families? Do you do
Mhm.
nighttime shifts? I know postpartum doulas do night shifts, day shifts. Like, what might that look like for a family?
So I only do day shifts. I don't do night shifts, but I can refer you to people. I've made that decision when I started being a postpartum doula. I looked into it. I I decided that at my age I don't want to go back to not sleeping the night. So it's just a decision, it's a personal business decision. As far as how you connect, and so I have a website, and if you're interested in getting my services, you go online and you complete the form, and I will ask you a few more questions by email. And then what I do is I've consult, and my consult is on Zoom. Uh, so you're going to connect with me on Zoom for, I don't know, about 30 minutes, and you can ask me all the questions that you think are important to you in order to decide if I'm the right doula for you. I will not take it personally if I'm not the right doula for someone. As I told you earlier, it is a very intimate relationship with the
Mhm.
parent, and it's okay. You don't appeal to everybody. Not everybody appeals to you. Nothing personal, but you have time to say, well, think about it, and absolutely do think about it. I see nothing wrong with you talking to other doulas. I think absolutely it's an important decision, and I think you should be doing that. but that's how we take it. We take it from there. I will, if you have questions usually people are pregnant by the time they connect with me. If you have questions about what should I be doing next, what classes do you recommend, I'm happy to help you by email. So I will provide those services. And I will provide my advice if you're asking for it. But that's how usually it goes.
Awesome. And I'm going to share the link to your website so others can learn more about you. Stephanie, I wonder if you could share some questions parents might want to ask a doula, because like I know that you work for yourself. You know, there are some doulas that work with agencies, so there's a wide variety. So what are some questions that parents might want to think about asking when they're reaching out for support?
So, well, the obvious ones is experience and what kind of certification they do have. Unfortunately, there isn't an overseeing of doulas, and there are many different organizations that provide certification. So I can't talk about the other. I went with the one that's probably, and I, again, want to choose my words carefully here, but this is a well-known, established, and it's pretty old. Doula International. Doula means doulas of North America. So ask because there is multiple layers for my training. So you could have been trained with Donna, but you're not necessarily certified. There's multi-layers of this. So the training is the training, but after that, there's other trainings. There is other things that you have to provide in order to be certified. So ask. And it's okay. You could employ somebody who said the training. If you had a good feeling with that person, absolutely, that's your own personal decision. But ask about the experience. How many people? I've had families from India who asked me, do you have a lot of experience with families from South Asia? And I was upfront. I had one family and that was it. So, and again, if that's what they're looking for, absolutely, because I know how important that is. So that's what I would ask. I would ask the questions. Some people may ask, I've been trained with a WakeMed for losing my words here. CPR for infants. So you could ask these things if they're important to you. And I'm trying to think what parents are asking me really, but it's so after you ask these initial pretty important questions, after that it's really a chat about how do you proceed, what do you do. So you should ask what the doula is willing to do, not to do. Some doulas are pretty difficult. They won't change bed sheets, for example. That kind of stuff. They won't cook at all. So if these things are important to you, think about what's important to you and questions and see.
I think that's really great wisdom. And I think too, like also asking about a doula specialty, because like, what do you specialize? What makes you different than another postpartum doula? Because oftentimes we don't realize like the gifts and talents we have. And I do think that sometimes parents might work with multiple doulas at the time, And so I think like that's an important thing too, to throw out there, because I do a more sleep focused session, but I can see how you do a very cooking focused session. And, somebody might need both of those, because there's families that I worked with that I was like, oh my gosh, they would have loved having Stephanie in their home because that's exactly what they need. I was like, yeah, I'm going to make the box mac and cheese. Like, let me help you. But of course I help meal prep and things like that, but like I'm not going to make it from scratch.
There's one thing we haven't talked about is mental health aspect of postpartum. That is something you should definitely talk about with your potential doula. We are all supposedly be all trained in that on a certain level. So a doula should be able to listen to you pretty well. She should be asking a question, but when she has the question, she really should be listening to your answers. And we are, every family is different. At the beginning, I remember one parent, for example, who told me the birth was difficult after she hired me. So I called her when she had the baby and she said it was difficult. But in my head, the birth wasn't physically demanding. Like I didn't think it was that difficult, but thinking back on it, for her it was difficult, and that's all that matters, because that really has an effect on your postpartum period afterwards. So talk about that with your potential doula during the consult. Talk about, maybe you've had depressions in the past, or that is things you need to disclose to your potential doula, because these are information we'd want to know.
Yeah.
And that too, dads are important, very, very important. It's not because you're not giving birth that you're not feeling the depression or the pressure here.
Yeah. And I think that's such beautiful wisdom to share. And I think it ties back to what you've been saying all along. Like, you're having these intimate conversations with somebody. You're going to have somebody in your home and doing all the things. So being able to have that conversation, know that you're being listened to, heard, validated in what you're experiencing in your
Mhm,
journey.
mhm.
So um, Stephanie and I, we got to meet over fika. And can you tell us a little bit about what fika means? So those listening in, I want them to know about a fika, because I now fika all the time.
So fika, I'm French, but it's actually Swedish. And it's a cultural thing. Apparently in Sweden, they fika every day, which is basically, even some company have it in their contracts. You have coffee and a pastry or a cake, something sweet, with a coworker or a friend, and it's a daily thing. And you pause and you stop and you drink your nice coffee and your nice pastry, and you relax. This is like a mental health break.
Mm.
I'm a big coffee person, so probably not the greatest for postpartum recovery, but let's not talk about this. Um,
There's
but
tea, you could have water, but just the pastry
water
itself
and the
would be
pastry
the
sounds
treat.
good. Yes. So that's basically what fika is. It's like a cultural relaxation moment with coffee and a pastry.
I love it. And so Stephanie introduced me to doing fikas. We had a little fika the first time we met, and I think a fika and a siesta are two must-haves to keep things
Great
going.
rhymes too.
All good things, it helps us pause and do better. Well,
Mhm.
Stephanie, we could probably talk all day, but I am going to wrap us up with our top 5 loving lessons you've learned. And so I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions and we'll go from there.
Best.
What is your favorite parenting product?
So I've been thinking about that, and I think so. I'm not a great believer in products just because they come and go. Some stay for a long time, and these are the one that you should be going with, the one that have had, the test of times. I love the snoo right now for many reasons, because if it helps the parents at the very beginning, I think it's great. It's also very expensive, but we can rent it for a while. Um, it's a good product, but again, I do need to look at the data on that. But I do like it. I've seen it working, and it's a good product.
Yeah. And what is your best self-care tip that you would share?
My best. So ask for help, support group. Your mental health is really important. Let go of the guilt. Do what is important to you, what matters to you. Take care of yourself, which doesn't mean taking care of the baby, taking care of the baby siblings or your husband. Take care of yourself, and um, that takes some thinking about, because we are just don't we are programmed not to take care of ourselves. So your mental health is basically the root of everything, and it is certainly the root for postpartum recovery.
Yeah.
So you need to nap for 3 hours. Do not feel the guilt. Leave the laundry. It will be fine. Just take care of yourself. If you want to read and hold that baby, just leave it. Just do that. Yeah, that's
What do you do as a mom of teenagers? What do you do to take care of yourself?
You know what? Take time to myself, just be on my own. I know it sounds really horrible, but I need time to myself on my
Yeah.
own without anybody.
Yeah.
Um, because
And
life, um,
I was just going to say, I think that as moms, we oftentimes feel bad for needing that time alone, but I think it's what can actually refresh and rejuvenate us to show up and be better for our little ones or big ones.
yeah, I think that comes with age, maybe. I just turned 50, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling guilty about this because
Yeah, I know.
I know what I do beside that. So
These are definitely things I wish I would have known then. And somebody would have said, do this for yourself and let's practice being uncomfortable in this. So,
yeah, letting go of the guilt as a parent is a tough one.
yeah.
Yeah,
And Stephanie, what is something you thought you would never do or say?
I don't know. I do all say things every day, especially to teenagers. I can't think of one just in particular, but I'm repeating the things my mom said, and I never thought I would say it. So I don't know. Ugh, I don't know about that. I don't know if I even want to repeat.
Every now and then I'll catch myself doing that too. I'm like, oh, just
Oh,
heard
yeah.
that. Like, I thought I'd never said that.
Yeah.
What's one thing you want parents that are listening today to really walk away with and know?
Well, it's pretty much a summary of what I've said. Just ask for help. It does take a village to raise children. And I'm not just talking the postpartum period here. I am really talking about it pretty much forever now that you are a new parent. Just ask for help. Nobody is doing this on their own. So it takes a village. That say is on my website for a reason. Friends, neighbors, doulas, doctors, just ask for help. Support groups. Um,
Yeah,
we we've all been in, if you're a parent, we've all been in the same boat, some different degree than others, but we all know what a screaming child is. We all know what not sleeping is. So just ask for help.
awesome. And you are new in the business journey. So, what is one thing you've learned in your entrepreneurial journey?
So I'm still learning uh, every day. There's a lot of juggling. Uh, just at the beginning is very overwhelming. So you need, if that's your style, that's my style, take things slowly. I opened an LLC, I do insurance, I got QuickBooks. So just take it slowly. I got help with my website because I'm not very tech savvy. That's okay. So take things slowly. I'm I'm really at the beginning, I was looking for a doula who would mentor me, and I struggled to find one. I'm here, people. I haven't got 20 years of experience, but if you're thinking about becoming a doula and you really don't know where to start, just shoot me an email and I'm quite happy to answer questions I help out for free.
I love it. Stephanie, I can feel your heart. I love it. I love the work that you do and how you love and support these families. So,
Okay.
you are a blessing to everybody that you do. And thanks for sharing your gifts and talents with us here.
Oh,
Well,
it was nice talking with you.
thank you for being here. And hopefully, everyone can see how when we are feeding ourselves well and we are taking care of those moments, letting go of some of that guilt, we will also be able to sleep well. And so, thanks for tuning in here at the Loving Lessons podcast.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks for tuning into today's show. You can see all of the details and show notes below. And as you go out into your day, I hope that you'll make it your mission to be calm, confident, and rested as you lead today. Sweet dreams.